In this video, we will look at the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, the huge hidden cost of dog ownership. We're going to look at some of the dog serving industries that contribute to all these workplace hazards and stress, as well as the huge taxpayer cost of workman's comp. So first, let's go to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. So they recognize work as a significant issue. It can negatively impact the worker's health and productivity. All right, so I think they should recognize dogs too, because dogs are a significant part of this, both directly and indirectly. Allow me to illustrate. So first off, a lot of people work in dog servicing industries. We'll look closer at these in a little bit, like dog shelters, rescues, veterinary offices. These organizations require a variety of roles. So it is true that many people work in the animal care industry, and they contribute to the workplace stress, and they contribute to the huge cost of the medical repairs that have to be done to humans because of dogs. So let's look at just some information about the stress that workers are going through because they own their dogs. For example, many people are caring for sick dogs at home, facing challenges such as increased responsibilities, emotional stress, fatigue. It can be overwhelming. So in our society, we have this new thing of we don't put a dog down when it's just sick and ill. We pump it full of drugs, $10,000 x-rays and radiation treatment, cancer drugs, and we guilt people when they decide to put a dog down. And so many people have just nasty sick dogs at their house that they have to rush home to take care of. They have to work extra hard to take care of them too, because the cost is huge. And here's a little summary on that. Many dogs are kept alive with advanced medical treatments and medications. Veterinary science has made significant progress in years. However, veterinarians do say that keeping the pet alive at all costs is not always the most humane. But we guilt people into continuing this way of taking care of their dogs, just keeping them alive longer and longer and longer. And we even have a new anti-aging drug. So, Big Pharma is going to take advantage of this ridiculousness too. So here's another example of some stressors from dog owners. They come home to find their dog is missing. Statistically, 1 in 3 pets will become lost in their lifetime. That's mostly dogs. People don't lose their goldfish or their lizard. The thing's stuck in a cage. But that's just another stress that these dog owners are putting themselves through. Also, many people have to leave work for dog emergencies, as pets are often considered family members. It's just another example of the stress. Also, many dog owners will admit they're worrying about their dogs at work regarding the well-being, separation anxiety. It's so important that the dogs are comfortable during the owner's absence. So all these people at work are going through significant stress because of the dog at home. They got to get home sooner. They got to get ring cams up in their house, etc., and so on. And so workplace stress overall is on the rise. 90% of employees experiencing mental health challenges due to workloads, job insecurity, lack of recognition. Lack of recognition, that's interesting. A dog can never give you true recognition. In fact, you have to work harder and harder and harder to pay for the dog, like with the cancer example. Like it says right here, excessive workloads. Yeah, so many people are experiencing stress at work because of dog ownership. And so occupational stress can lead to workplace accidents. That's why I brought the OSHA example into this conversation. It affects focus, decision making. You have an increased likelihood for mistakes and unsafe behaviors. And the high stress levels can contribute to physical and mental health issues, further impacting your safety at work. So there is no way that dog ownership is not a good portion of the workplace stress. And then the downstream effect of that is workplace accidents. And so this is another taxpayer cost of dog ownership. Workplace accidents cost the taxpayers. A significant portion of the medical cost associated with these injuries is covered by government programs, aka workers' compensation, disability, and all that kind of stuff. And so check this out. Workplace injuries and illnesses have increased by 7.5% in 2022 compared to previous years, indicating a growing need for increased safety measures. How about less dog ownership equals less stress equals less workload? How about that? And the interesting thing about this, it says additionally, serious workplace injuries have risen by 17% since 2010, despite advancement in safety standards. So, what else has increased since 2010? Dog ownership has increased since 2010, with the number of dog owning households rising from 46 million to 58 million in 2024, a growing attachment to dogs in America. More dog owners working harder to take care of their sick and aging dogs, more dog owners worrying about their dog at work, more workplace stress, more workplace injuries, and then the taxpayer has to pay for it. So then we have to even work harder to pay more money for this ridiculous habit of owning dogs. Yeah, it's a huge it's a huge trick. It's a scam. We have to pay for this. We have to work harder for this. And those dogs will never pay a tax. Those dogs will never do 1 minute of work. And workers' compensation claims are a significant expense for everybody, not just the taxpayers, but it's a significant expense for businesses. They involve direct costs like medical care and lost wages, as well as indirect costs such as increased insurance premiums and administrative expenses. The total cost can add up quickly, impacting a company's financial stability. So for me, if I was opening up a new company and I wanted a bunch of employees that were going to be focused and not stressful, I would pick the employees that had the fewest dogs at home, or the employees that actually had human friends that did not own dogs themselves, so that their dogs could be taken care of. Because worrying about your dog creates significant workplace stress, and your company's financial stability is at risk when you're constantly paying workman's comp for stress related stuff. So now let's get to some of the dog specific jobs. So we were just looking at how dogs create stress for people, and then they take that stress with them to work. But now let's look at some of the dog specific jobs, such as animal shelter workers. So these people are constantly being hurt by dogs. I got a little playlist here for everybody. Just a few days ago, somebody was mauled at an animal shelter. But yeah, these people are having a lot of problems, mauled to death, even amputations. So this is the payback these mutts are giving you. Miami-Dade county worker bitten during dog attack. This volunteer that got 6.8 million, I believe that was a police dog. So your city taxes and your workman's comp pays for all this, when these poor people that are working, they're basically working directly for dogs, but they're using your taxpayer money to cover all of it. Crazy. So, veterinarians often sustain injuries from dogs, with a significant number of incidents involving bites, scratches, and other animal-related injuries. 50 to 60% of veterinarians experience such injuries in their careers, making it a common risk. Yep. So, again, workers' compensation. Veterinary injuries are covered by workman's compensation. So everybody in the country has to pay for this. Not the dog owners, not the dogs. Your taxpayer money. Yeah. What else do we got? So workers' compensation claims for veterinarians have been on the rise, particularly due to increase in animal-related injuries such as bites and strains. My goodness. Many of these injuries are reported to occur more frequently among less experienced staff during the summer months. Okay. Well, whatever. Shouldn't be happening. If dogs are man's best friend, how come they injure so many people that are serving dogs? So, what about animal shelter workers? Yep, look at here. They're injured by dogs, especially when dealing with aggressive or frightened animals. Insufficient funding and resources in shelters can lead to overworked staff, increasing the risk. So, like we talked about before, overworked staff. And we accidentally came across this one right here, but that's the one I was mentioning earlier, the animal shelter worker mauled to death. This was a guy that has MS. Wow. Let's go to our next little info lookup. So, again, animal shelters typically pay for workmen's injuries through workers' compensation insurance. So, again, taxpayers are paying for this. You go to an animal shelter trying to help out some pupper doggos, you get bitten, mauled. Oh, taxpayers are going to have to pay some more taxes for that. And check this out. You can even get disability benefits from these dog attacks. So think about that. People right now are sitting at home getting a disability check on your taxpayer dime because some janky, jackass, freaking mutt prey drive got triggered and bit that poor shelter worker. Now they have to sit at home on disability. Terrible. Ridiculous. So what about our dog groomers? Yeah, they can experience injuries from dogs, bites, scratches, bruises. Proper handling techniques and aware of dogs' behavior can how about get a job that's not so freaking dangerous? So, workers' compensation covers injuries for dog groomers. Yet again, guys. Yet again. Workers' compensation claims for dog groomers are increasing due to the physical nature of the job. Blah, blah, blah. Bites and scratches again. And of course, another funny thing about all this, we have so many obese dogs out there. It's something like 60%. There's so many different sources, but really all you have to do is look at the pictures of people's dogs. So if you have a dog that weighs 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds more than it should, you go to a dog groomer or a veterinarian, your freaking spoiled, gluttonous, food-sucking dog is making them have worse back problems too. And then the taxpayers freaking paying for it. Yeah. So, and again, there's been an increase in workers' compensation in doggy daycare. Yeah. Remember what we were looking at previously. Dog ownership has increased. So right along with this dog owner increase, increased workplace injuries, increased workplace stress, increased taxpayer burden for workman's comp claims, increased stress for businesses and business owners because of the presence of dogs that attack their workers that are trying to help the dog. So there you go. There is a look at the major taxpayer cost of dog ownership, stress, injuries, business problems. And here is our bonus. We got to hit up on socialism like I do in some of my videos. Socialist regimes prioritize collective work and state goals over individual well-being. Well, the goal of the state with workman's comp and having to have all types of taxpayer benefits for the dog culture is to make us be dependent on all this government help. And so that is a state goal, to keep us dependent on taxpayer benefits because we're injured from dogs. Prioritizing collective work. We all have to work. We have to pay more taxes for dog ownership. We have to work harder to take care of dogs because of the dog worshiping culture. Keeping dogs alive longer. Working harder to feed more dogs. Yeah. It's crazy. So again, socialist regimes prioritize collective work and state goals over individual well-being, emphasizing state control and economic planning, which could undermine the personal freedoms and individual needs. Yeah, personal freedoms and individual needs. If you're part of this dog culture, you're going to have to throw a lot of those in the garbage. Just work harder, take care of more dogs, file more workman's comp claims, file more disability claims, and just keep working your freaking ass off to feed and take care of obese dogs that attack all of your people that serve the dogs in those industries. Yep. See you guys later. Don't forget to read the links. Don't forget to leave a comment. See you.